Our interview today is with Mr. Victor Johnston at his home on Cottle Creek Road. Today is August the 30th, 2006. And Mr. Johnston, we appreciate you letting us come here to interview you, and we know that you have been a lifelong member of the Cottle Creek community here in Mooresville, and we so appreciate your telling us your story about your life growing up here. So your family really has lived in this part of Iredell County for some time. Your father was born not far away.
All my life.
All your life. And what about your father? Wasn't he born close by?
He was born in the house next door out there to us like that in 1896. And it used to be a two-room shack. That's where he lived in. He lived in there with four sisters.
And his
mother like that. His mother was Mary Clementine Brantley. And she was born in a house at the bottom of the hill here off Cottle Creek Road there. She lived in this community all the time. And she, after Daddy got married, her daughter, which was Jane Johnston, lived with her. And after Daddy and my mother got married, well, Grandma moved out here. She told Daddy to fix up the old Wade Linker house, and her and Jane would move into it. That was after my Daddy got married. Daddy and Mother got married, and she lived out next door to us here for I don't remember, but Grandma Johnston lived to be 89 years old. She died in 1959. And she always loved flowers, Grandmother did. She loved flowers. She had a flower garden out here, and she had flowers from just about every place around here. At one time, Jane told me that she had flowers and sent Mamie Eisenhower some flowers out of her flower garden at one time. That's been a long time ago. But Grandma had a row of boxwoods out there that she set out when she was a young girl at the old home place. And then after she moved here, back here, she just set out another row of boxwoods that's still out here now too. And that boxwoods lived to be 100 years old. They don't bloom but every 100 years. And we got a couple of boxwoods out here that bloomed. It bloomed.
And so your father lived out here, and he attended school where? My
father lived here, and he went to school at Linwood Schoolhouse over here on Linwood Road. And when he got time for high school, well, Daddy, Grandma moved to Mount Olive for Daddy to go to school at Mount Olive High to get his high school education. And that's where he lived. And he says he used to play the baseball team like that. And he said he remember the old high school building out there. Mooresville come out to play Mount Olive one time, and said the boys from Mount Olive, they beat the Mooresville boys in baseball. He said, but the next year, he said Mooresville brought out some of their boys in there, professional boys, and said he could hear that he played outfield, and he said he could hear the ball rattling off the old tin roof up there above the schoolhouse. But he played baseball there, and he went to college. He went to A&M College, and he was about 16 years old, I think. And the way I heard it was Mr. D. Turner was his guardian through school, and Daddy had a scholarship of $100 a year to go to college. And so he went to college. But Mount Olive High School was out there pretty close to where Gene Parker's got a pond out there now, right on the other side of Mount Olive's flour mill. And he graduated, he went to college when he was about 16 years old, I think. He got out of primary school at Linwood School, and then he went to college. It was A&M College then.
And what is today? It's NC State.
But today it's NC State. But Daddy went to school there, and he run track. He run on a track team, and he was pretty good in running like that. And Daddy tells me that he was a good friend of Carl Scott. He said the first year, said Carl Scott beat him on the track team on the cross country. But he said the next year, said he beat Carl Scott about the same amount that Carl Scott beat him the year before. That's what Daddy always told me.
And after he graduated, he came back here to Mooresville.
And after he went to Grove City, Pennsylvania, and learn how to make butter one thing, because that's what he was going to do later on. He thought he would. He said he knew that Mooresville had a creamery up, and he thought if he knew how to make butter, he could get him a job at Mooresville Creamery. So in 1917, he graduated from NC State with a master's degree from college, and that he started there right at the time of the war. And he told me, he said that butter maker, he said that kept him out of World War I and out of World War II.
Yeah.
But he made butter. Their brand of butter was autumn leaf butter. It was sour cream butter.
Okay, now tell us what how they made.
Sour cream butter was every farmer around here usually had milk cows like that, and they'd take milk and skim the cream off the milk like that. And they'd put it in a can, and they would take it to the creamery up here in Mooresville, and they sold it. That's how Daddy met his future wife, because his dad-in-law was a cream hauler. And they made sour cream butter and had to churn it. Well, there's a couple of local boys up here that Daddy got to work in the creamery years and years ago, which was Lawrence Wilkerson. He taught Lawrence Wilson how to test cream. And Kenneth Wilkerson, Kenneth Wilson tested butter, but the other Wilkerson boy, he run the churn butter. And he said that before, like this, said the creamery was losing money. Didn't nobody understand how to make butter like that with a profit. And he said butter has to test at least 40% butter fat in order to be called butter. And he says that if you wash the butter like that, to wash all the whey out of it, and said that when you churn the butter, said you had to have a 40% butter fat. And he said we have to churn butter. Said you had to test it all the time, see how much butter fat was in it. And he said the salt and water was your profit when you sold butter. He said before then, said people didn't understand that, and so they didn't put the water and salt back into it before they sold it. Mm-hmm. He said that was a profit. He said that he sent a penny postcard out all over the state here, advertised autumn leaf butter. Said he sold butter all over the state, like that penny postcard.
Was it a round? Was it done in a round or a rectangle?
No, it was rectangle. When I saw it, like he said, rectangle, pounds of butter. And the railroad track up here, they distributed butter for them. Said during World War II, said they had to ship some of that butter to Shelby so it would feed the troops in World War II. Mm-hmm. This is what he told me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they used to sell buttermilk out of creamery up here in jars or tins or something like that, and people would come by with their tins like that and pick up buttermilk. Well, this I'm getting ahead of it. This was buttermilk, the buttermilk, the whey that came out of the old buttermilk. They fed that to the hogs, and when the hogs would drink that. Well, let's see, it's about 1937, 38, no 39, I reckon it was, is when he started the selling pasteurized milk, selling pasteurized milk.
And did they deliver milk to
He said they delivered milk there. One of the fellows that used to deliver milk, I remember his name was Moore Caldwell. His widow's dead now too. He's got a son, Larry Caldwell, that's still living. He's in my class at school. But Moore Caldwell delivered milk up and down the area back in here. And I remember one time that Daddy went to took me with him when he went down to Hamlet to deliver some butter down to Hamlet. That was a railroad station out at Hamlet, and he went down and delivered butter down there. And I got a picture somewhere that he had the old creamy truck like that where he went down there in. And like I say, some of the people that worked for him were the Keesler boys. Glenn didn't work for him, but I always said the Wilkerson boys, they worked for him. They worked for him like that. Ruth Keesler worked for him, and it was Stewart boy. He worked at the creamery, at the cleanup.
the creamery was located on Broad Street,
Staying right beside where the ice cream plant is now. But we got to understand too that when the ice cream plant was built, Mr. Millsap started the ice cream in 1927. And Daddy was instrumental in helping get Mr. Millsap started with the ice cream, because in Mr. Millsap's and Daddy, they went around to all the dairy shows around. Mr. Robert Edmondson used to go to the dairy shows with me. Robert Edmondson was a brother-in-law of my daddy.
Okay.
But they all went to the dairy shows, and they go up to Chicago sometime and this and that and other. And they used to run around together. But Mr. Edmondson was a dairy farmer. yeah, he was there, but he was a brother-in-law of my daddy. His daddy's sister married Robert Edmondson.
So was he involved with the creamery as well?
Well, they had stock. They had a stock sell out sometime once upon a time, and Daddy's the other fellow, they bought a bunch of stock, I think. Tried to buy up all stocks so they have control of it. Mr. Con Johnston was in that thing too. He was another guy. He didn't have anything to do with the selling the milk like that, but he was the director of the creamery, I think.
So really and truly, dairy farming was
it started around in here in Iowa County, up this part of the county, because just about everyone out here was a dairy farmer. And see, the dairies you had up here was Bill Harris up here, and Wyatt Festiman, no, not Wyatt Festiman, but Mitch Festiman, and but all of them eventually went to more of a creamer, like it sold the milk at more of a creamer. The other dairy farmers was Bruce Brown right here, Rock Cub, and I think Morris Johnson he was selling milk to Seal Test, I think, after he was dairy farmer. But see, all the dairies right in here, Daddy helped get them started. Like I told them what they ought to do. To have a grade A dairy, you had to have had the milk on cement, and had to have hot water. To tell you another strange thing, we had hot water in the milking barn, but we didn't get hot water in the house until 1953.
Cows are more important.
That's right.
Cows and milk are more
Cows
important.
will give milk, and that's more important than having conveniences at home like that. All we had was no wood stove. But
and so did you? When you grew up, did you actually get involved in the dairy farming? I mean, I'm sure you had to help.
Yeah, I got into farm. We run the farm here for several years like that, and but said it was another thing that doesn't, people don't realize it. They had the FCX here, and the farmers, Daddy had sold the farmers on the idea of having this Spediza seed to make better hay, quality hay. But when the farmers started bringing it back to him like that, they had to have a place to sell their seeds. So that's how Daddy got FCX started here in Mooresville. A lot of people don't know that. But,
That was the Farmers Cooperative
that's
Exchange.
Farmers Cooperative Exchange is what it was like that. And he got them involved in that. And I remember he said he used to a couple of bales of hay, put on the running board of a car and take it home with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he told me.
Mm-hmm.
And see, then he started selling. I had to make alfalfa hay for dairy cows because Daddy had dairy cows. In about 1947, he had all jerseys before that. When about 47 like that, he got some Holsteins going so they have more milk. Because he knew that people need more milk, and he was already in the dairy business. And after he had that creamery here in Mooresville sold milk like that, well, that's when they sold out to Rowan Dairy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's but Daddy was always involved in the milk business like that. He quit farming here. Well, he didn't quit farming. He quit the creamery up there in about 1947, I believe it was,
Mm-hmm.
because he hadn't had close to 40 years in it, close to it.
Mm-hmm.
But he just dairy farmed all from then on.
Okay, so now you grew up on a dairy farm, and then you went to school, and what did you learn to study when you went to college?
Well, main thing I learned after I went to college was get along with people.
That's a good thing to learn.
Before that, if you'd say jump, I'd say how high. But after that, well, see, then I found out the finer things of life too. Well, and I got married. And so then that puts you to the grindstone all the time after that. After you get married like that. So then I had my wife. She used to ride the combine for me before we got married like that, to cut grain. And she learned to tie sacks like it. People done forgot how to tie a miller's knot in. So sacks would hold together. And
So y'all ran this farm for a while, didn't you?
a long time like that.
And then, but didn't you worked at the Plant Marshall steam plant?
Well, after I got to the place where so it's time for me to get out of this dairy business like that, 'cause I see where it was going. It wasn't going too good enough. So I decided I'd go out to public work like that. So I made the application to work over at Marshall Steam Station. And then I worked at Marshall Steam Station for about 30 years too after that. And I enjoyed every bit of that too. And met a lot of good people then.
Now tell us what the Marshall. A lot of people don't know what the Marshall Steam Station even is.
Marshall Steam Station is a place that makes electricity.
And it's located over at
Terra along Lake Norman.
And that was built by Duke Power.
Built by Duke Power like that. Collins Ford Dam. Well, Collins Ford Dam was built out there. Most people didn't even know what the dam was. They didn't have no idea what it was. But Collins Ford Dam was a man-made lake like that. And the only reason they made that lake was so to have cooling power water for the steam plant, because it make it more efficient. You take the cold water off the bottom of the lake and put it in through the steam station. It make better turbines very more efficient than what they were before like that. But the recreation has really come out of that, and it's really made this part of the country grow a whole lot, because you brought people in for recreation and jobs for other people around here. So this Marshall Steam Station was just a place I got in on pretty close to after it was built. Didn't know a thing about steam station. I worked at Mooresville Mills there for 4 or 5 years like that. I worked in the boiler room there. And I said, well, after I quit that, went back to farming altogether again. When I come back, and I said that I jumped out of the frying pan into the fire, because I had no idea I'd be working where they have all that kind of pressure. And I worked there for 40 years at
Plant Marshall.
Plant Marshall like that, and I enjoyed it like that. We saw a lot of changes there. There's a lot more changing going on now than I never would have thought about. But anyhow, it was an enjoyable time like that.
Mm-hmm.
When did Plant Marshall actually open? I know the dam was built somewhere around 1963.
1956 is when I went to work for them. And
But
the plant was open. One unit was open right before that, a year before that. And the reason I know it's 1956 is because that's when I had a job out in Charlotte down there working for a real estate outfit, developing, cleaning off lots for people. And my wife was in the hospital with my youngest son then, and I come in and told her, I said, well, I quit my job today. She said, you what? And she's having a baby too at the same time. She said, you what? I said, yeah, but I got another one. Mm-hmm. And I've always told my children, I says, I first got them all to work in the cotton mill. So I don't want you to work in the cotton mill to find out what you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. I said, otherwise, I said, when you get your job, I said, you keep that job, but don't quit it until you get another job, a better job. And that was my philosophy of them like that. I said, work, and if you work hard as you can to satisfy whoever you're working for like that, so they won't fire you. But then, but the kids, we had one, the oldest boy, he worked in the cotton mill after he finished high school like that, and then he went on to Appalachian and graduated from Appalachian like that. He worked every year till he got married like that. And then I think when he got married one year, he came back and worked cotton mill one year, actually got married, but then he started to be a school teacher. And Cindy, the girl, I told her she had to work in the cotton mill too to find out what she didn't want to do. Well, she went on to school to Appalachian. She was going to be an art major, but then she decided there after about 2 years of that she wanted to go on. She wanted to try to go be a physical therapist, but then she went to UNC Chapel Hill. That's that unadmissible college, what I always call it. but anyhow, she finished Appalachian. She finished Chapel Hill with a BS in recreational therapy, I believe is what she said it was. And then Nicky, he always said that he wanted to go to the Coast Guard. Well, when he was 15 years old, about 5 years old, he said he wanted to go to the Coast Guard. But when he graduated from, the year before he graduated from high school, he got in the Coast Guard. He had a program where he could enlist, go in the Coast Guard, and he was in there before his senior year, and after he took his basic training, and he came back and finished high school, Morville High School after that, and then he went on to Cape May, New Jersey. I mean, it was Cape May, and he got introduced to Fresnel lenses up there, and then after his duty in the Coast Guard, he took every course that they made, offered him, and the way I consider it right now, I expect Nicky more educated than all the rest of them because he had to educate in hard knocks, of course. But Al graduated from after he finished after he got through teaching at Allegheny County. Well, then he got him and his wife went back to school. He went back to school, and then he worked for Data South, the computer makes printers for computers. Mm-hmm. He's worked there, and he's traveled all over the world since then.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
But Nicky made his career in the Coast Guard. But Cindy, I always told her she needed to be a nurse, but she never did pursue that thing until after she got married. But then after she got married, she had 2 children. So then she went back to school again, and she became a nurse. Mm-hmm. And right now, I think she's pursuing for a master's degree in nursing like that. Mm-hmm. John, he had a disability then, and Nikki's boy, Nikki, took him to see Mr. Roger Sequus up there, and made to make Nikki an athletic trainer. And now John got a degree from East Carolina College, and he's an athletic trainer, certified athletic trainer.
That's great.
But now he taught for 2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years, and he right now he is a representative of a sports medicine outfit that he's pursuing right now. That's about all my children, I reckon.
Well, tell me what kind of changes do you think are the most significant that have occurred here in your lifetime?
Well, I think the most significant is probably the school system around here. We have we're seeing rapid growth in the school system. Of course, all the people around here too now. You have to have a good school system. And we had some land out here, and I told my oldest boy, I said, "What would you rather see out here, a housing development or a schoolhouse?" And he said, "I'd rather see a housing development, a schoolhouse rather than housing development." So then that's sort of the way we have pursued like that. And right now, the school board bought 100 acres from us up here for school buildings. One thing, and they're building schools now up here. And that's been the most significant change. And I think you got to have school before you could, the education before you could have other things. So I think my daddy would approve of that too, the education part of it.
And it's obvious that this side of town is growing.
Well, there's a lot taking place out in here that we never would have thought would happen like that, but it has. And the way it looks like that the school system needs to have the facilities for schools.
Al, you got any other questions?
What about the stock car business? How has that affected you out this way?
Well, the stock car business, that didn't bother me no way, because Mr. Earnhardt down here, he come out and bought some land, so he couldn't buy nothing either for a long time either. But he one of the good old boys around here. And Dale Earnhardt, he was a good neighbor of mine, a real good neighbor. He'd do anything for you. And so that reason the stock car don't bother me too much. I like to see him on television, but that's as far as I go talking about them.
You got a lot more traffic because of that, don't you?
Well, no, we got a lot of traffic out here now, but the traffic wasn't caused the kind of stock car racing here. The traffic was caused by Carolina Mills up here, shopping center, and it's a shortcut between here and Charlotte to the interstate. That's what's caused the traffic. It's going back and forth like that. People used to say, well, that make a lot more traffic here, but the traffic didn't increase because of the stock car business coming in here. Now, the stock car business on the outside, man, it could have helped it some like that, but what came here in the world to start with, I don't think it hurt it anything, but it's just a shortcut between 2 points. Carolina Mills and us like that. It's what's made the traffic out this way. And
You talk about the shopping mall, right?
that's right. Shopping mall.
Yeah. Tell us about the old truck that used to be out here beside your house.
Oh yes, I used to have an old truck sitting out here. It was a 38 3/4 ton Chevrolet pickup truck. And I ought to had my hind end kicked for not taking better care of it than I did, but I didn't. But the old 3/4 ton truck was what my granddaddy had to haul cream in years ago like that. And he's also a fertilizer dealer. And I hauled many a load of fertilizer for my granddaddy that way too. And this truck, Mr. Millsap approached about Mr. Clyde Millsap. No, it wasn't Clyde, it was his son, Buddy. They approached me one time about that truck, and I told them, I said, if you want to restore it, said I'll give it to you. And they said that they wanted to restore it like this. He's got it right now. He said he wanted to build a ice cream box on top of it like that. And I put it in parades, but now I don't know when he'll do it. Whether he got money to allow to do it or not, but I give him the old 3/4 ton Chevrolet pickup truck. It had it original miles on it, was about 90,000, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm. So it had been used a lot.
It had been used a lot. I drove it for a long time too.
And it belonged to.
My grandfather is the one that bought it, man. He bought it from China Grove Hardware in China Grove because he wanted to haul fertilizer on. You need a heavier truck. But that is a 38 is what the model was. I reckon I got it in about 58, I reckon, when I got it. He gave it to me.
Okay, Al, anything else?
Rick, of the houses out here that are in the Johnston family, you have any idea when the oldest one was built?
Mr. Wade Linker had that house built. The house out here is a log house. The inside log. Well, 1935, Grandma Johnston told my dad if he'd do a little bit of remodel to the old Linker house, her and Jane would move into it, and that became. Grandma her nickname was Aunt Tiny. She was a Brantley, and but the old house. I know there's logs in it like that, and because I've seen the logs in it like that, taken out to where I could see them like that. And
It was probably built back in the late 1800s, maybe?
somewhere back in that time, I think. Mr. Wade Lincoln was a farmer. Mr. Elizabeth Kerrigan was Mr. Wade Lincoln's daughter. That's about all I know about it. But Daddy had it brick veneered in the outside there in about 1935, I reckon that's when it was.
Okay, anything else you want to share with us?
A lot of the farmers in this neighborhood got a little bit of money because of our father having been at the creamery, and a lot of it everybody had to have a cow. Even people in town had a cow, and they had a little bit of milk left over. That's when they got the idea of the creamery, and they'd sell that little bit of milk they had left to the creamery.
Because there was
And at one time, there was about 1,500 people selling cream to Morrill Creamery. And when they sold that creamery to the creamery, then families got a little bit of money that they could spend because they'd sold the cream.
Well, this was
And that was, as I said, that was back in the 1920s or 30s.
that was before there was real refrigeration.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Right.
And the cream, as he said, the sour cream up there my father had to test that cream about every day to see what to do with it to make it sweet, so he could make butter with it.
With sour cream butter.
From the sour cream butter, or what he had to do with it to make it sweet, and what he had to do to make it sour. He was constantly testing this stuff every single day.
A lot of chemistry in milk production like that, because milk's got to test a certain percent butter fat. If it's not, don't have the butter fat in it like that, it's
skim
drink.
milk.
It's drink.
So, of course, we don't. A lot of people today don't understand that, but milk used to come in a bottle with milk,
Right.
and then a little bit of
cream on top of it.
Right.
So, but nowadays they pasteurize that
And homogenize it.
and then homogenation mixes all the cream globules with the milk like that, so it'll be suspended with the milk, and that's more palatable to drink. But start with it must have been about 1937, I reckon, when they started selling grade A milk around here.
But also before that, I remember him saying something about his family. And the individual families would have a little bit of milk next over, and they would take it and they would retail that little bit of milk to people in town.
Make
or
chocolate milk.
to make milk. So they got a little bit of money doing that until before the creamery up here got going good. And after the creamery got going good, they sold the milk to the creamery, Of course, they have a larger volume of milk there at the creamery to where they can do more with it.
Well, grade A milk, he had to milk the cows on cement. And and then you had to strain the milk, and you had to refrigerate the milk. Every farmer around that retail milk had a cooler there that you put your milk into and catch it till the next morning. In the morning, the milkman would come by and pick all that milk up like that, and take it to the creamery, and they'd put it in a vat like that. And then they had a can washer in the vat.
Going back to my father, when he went to state college, he had never even heard of the word chemistry. He said he had chemistry all 4 years he was at state college.
That's why he was so good at testing all that milk without all that chemistry.
And he said he went there 4 years, and he was there the 5th year to learn what to do in the creamery. They had a creamery in one of the buildings on the state college campus. I think it was North Star or something like that. I don't know
North
if that
State
creamery.
Creamery.
I think it's still there. But he learned what to do in that creamery that 5th year when he was over there, and that's when after that he got the job in Mooresville. But he was the only man, I understood, the only person in Mooresville anywhere around that had a master's degree, and he never didn't teach school. Because everybody that was that educated, they wanted to teach school.
He taught a lot of people what to do on that stuff there. And there's a fellow, Lyman Kaiser, that was at Greensboro, I believe. He had the creamery up there. And he said at one time, Lyman Kaiser told Daddy he's going to mob him for getting him started in all this stuff. But Daddy helped out a lot of people. There was a creamery at Mooresboro that he went to pretty regular to see how they were doing. And so Daddy was pretty instrumental. A lot of these people right here at dairy farm, one thing or another. They always took advice and stuff.
Well, that's great. Okay, Vic, we thank you so much for your interview. Was there anything else that you wanted to add? Appreciate your stories, particularly telling us all about the creamery, because that's really interesting. It's certainly an important part of the history of Mooresville. Thank you.